The vibration of change, that magical place where life shifts from struggle to ease, from stagnation to forward movement, from old ways of being to new ways of becoming. Yes, it can seem rather elusive to get there, but when you are in it, you feel it down to your very core, and it can positively affect everything in your life, from your relationships to your health and well-being, from your career path to your abundance, from the quality of your inner connection to the fullness of your self-expression. Here on the Christine Upchurch Show, we explore ways to get into that vibration of change with experts in the fields of consciousness, psychology, spirituality, health, healing, and science. Are you ready to step into your vibration of change? Hello, everybody. Welcome. So grateful you're joining us here. You might be joining us live on KKNW AM 1150 in the Seattle area, on transformationtalkradio.com from around the world, anywhere on Facebook Live on my professional page, or perhaps after the fact on one of the dozens of podcasts or my YouTube channel, which we're getting videos up there now after the show. So please check out my YouTube channel as well. And by the way, I've got a couple of older YouTube. Sure, you see a bunch of radio shows on it, and then you'll know you're in the right place. But wherever and whenever you joined us from, we're very grateful to have you here today. And I want to say hello to the people behind technology before I move forward. Hello, Benny. How are you today on this gorgeous summer day?
It certainly is. Hi, Christine. Welcome back for another show, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And I love to be alongside with you every time.
And I really appreciate you, Benny. How are the twins?
They are good. We're actually going on our first camping trip of the year right after work here. So in about an hour, I'm jamming out.
Oh, exciting. And I think it won't be too hot compared to
Nope.
where it was a
No.
couple of weeks ago. So
Oh my God, we
yeah,
would have
have
been miserable if we
fun.
did it last week. Yeah, or yeah, I guess it was last week.
And don't forget the marshmallows.
Oh, they're backed up.
Okay. And hello, Olivia. Are you still there?
I am still here. Hi, Christine.
Hi. Folks, before we move into our show, I want to make sure that everybody knows about the content that you can find on the Academy of Divine Knowledge. I know Olivia will put the link up, and I'm sure that Kyle, who works tirelessly behind the scenes for the show, will put it up on the Facebook Live page. It's also, the link is on the homepage of my website, christineupchurch.com. The Academy of Divine Knowledge is a wonderful place that is censor-free, that has everything from meditation to medical information to consciousness expanding classes. And in that vein, I've got a couple of presentations there that you can find. First of all, I know that people have heard about the vibration of change. It is the tagline for this show, the vibration of change. It's that magical place where life shifts. And the question becomes, how do we get into that? And on the Academy of Divine Knowledge, I give you, 45-minute, 50-minute introduction to the vibration of change, which may sort of give you some sense of when you are greasing the wheels of positive change and when you're not. And it's kind of surprising there, I was confused because once upon a time, I had basically manifested through conscious intention a huge healing in my own life. And then I went on and became a healer. And the first big healing I saw didn't fit that model. I was confused. Eventually, I got this head to toe shiver download about what it is that not only creates healing, but creates any kind of positive change. And it has to do with the vibration we're in. And it may surprise you because there are some things about it that aren't taught in your usual manifestation classes. Anyway, you can find that introduction if you register for the Academy of Divine Knowledge. It's a monthly fee kind of thing, small fee, a lot less expensive than taking my class. And also, I've got another presentation up there about how seeking can get in your way and what you can do about it. And in fact, I talk about that phrase, seeking ye shall find. Folks, did you know that was mistranslated when the Bible was translated into English? And if you understand the corrected translation, how it can shift the way you seek and help you avoid those pitfalls of seeking. Presentation up there. So that's 2 presentations. And at the end of this month, a censored interview that was originally on this show that caused a little flack at KKNW, YouTube, because of the fact that the powers that be don't like some of the information. But we had amazing conversation with Dr. Lee Merritt, who was in the military for many years. She's been the head of Surgical Association in the United States, an amazing, amazing doctor who's got great insight into what's going on right now. So again, go to the homepage of my website, click the link, you'll see the image with some wonderful people. And by the way, you don't just get, my personal presentations, you get everybody's who's presenting things up on there. Amazing teachers, amazing interviews. Don't miss it. Please click on that. So Olivia, I know we were looking for our guest. Have we reached our guest yet?
We are still trying to track her down. So I will let you know if we get a hold of her here.
Okay. So, I know that it's kind of funny because this is live radio, right, folks? Live video, live radio. And so we have to roll with it. And once upon a time, I don't know, 8 years ago, I would have been like panicking. But I truly believe in the perfection of how things unfold. So I think what I'm going to do right now is I am going to invite callers because I think what's happening right now is there are people in the consciousness community who are feeling, oh gosh, a little off kilter because some of us are feeling like this tribe that we identified with once upon a time may not be completely in alignment with our beliefs. I see this splitting that is occurring right now. And I know that it's making some people feel really uncomfortable. Some people are grieving the loss of connections because they've been following the path of their belief system that seems to be different than some of the others. So anyway, if you fit into that category and you want to chat about your experience, Benny, what number would they call?
Yeah, it'll be 800-930-2819, 800-930-2819.
Great. I said tribe. I know that there are some people who say it's politically incorrect to refer to a tribe or tribal beliefs if you're not talking about a native tribe. And I don't mean any disrespect to those groups of people who are a part of indigenous tribes. In fact, I've got some some blood. I've one of my ancestors, actually two of my ancestors, were a part of the Cherokee tribe. From my understanding, anyway, the thing is, we may not be living in tribes these days for most of us, majority of us, in the so-called civilized world, which can be also uncivilized in various ways, but I won't even get into that. Um, but in Western society, we often don't think of ourselves as being a part of a tribe. And yet, being a part of a tribe, needing to feel connected to, protected by, and accepted by a tribe, it's in our DNA. If you think about how we evolved, once upon a time, if we ended up leaving our tribe, became very, very vulnerable. It's the sort of thing where it risked our physical well-being. We risked death if we couldn't be a part of a tribe. So within the context of our human DNA, I believe it's completely programmed within us to be connected to a tribe, to be accepted by a tribe. And in fact, it's sort of interesting. There was this research that was done where psychologists were looking to see what effect feeling ostracized would have on the brain. And, I don't remember all the contraptions that they connected and how they evaluated it. But one of the things they found was that if somebody felt like they weren't a part of the cool kids, so to speak, if they felt in some way ostracized just from this little, it was sort of like this computer game, it it highlighted a part of the brain where people experience pain, which is so interesting because when you think about like if you remember being a kid, in school, younger, or even older towards teenage years into high school, um, when you're ostracized or you're no longer accepted as a part of the tribe, or you feel excluded from the cool kids or whatever, it can hurt. Or if you're with a group of friends and suddenly something shifts and they no longer consider you to be a part of their team, part of their clique, it hurts. And there's good reason for it, because we are programmed to stay a part of a tribe. And it basically activates the pain center of our brain. And in fact, I think there's been some research where they found that through the ostracism, if people take pain relievers, it can actually help alleviate the psychological pain. So this sense of, okay, we're not a part of a tribe if we haven't, if we're not a part of indigenous tribe, I don't believe is true, because it may be a more nebulous definition of tribe, but we are tribal by nature. And yes, we like to think of ourselves as, oh gosh, we're connected to this unity consciousness. We are part of the global oneness, the universal oneness, which, as we evolve, we tap into that more and more. And yet we're still in human form. So as we grow up, our first tribe, typically in a reasonably healthy upbringing, our first tribe is our family, our parents, our siblings, our extended family, our guardian, whoever is caring for us. Um, and then as we get to be a little older and our peers become more important, probably between the ages of 10 to 14, we start to buck the system of our original tribe, and our tribe becomes our peers, our schoolmates, our cliques. And then as we get older, we might kind of go from one tribe to another tribe to another tribe, but we are often seeking that kind of connection. And so I know that for many of you, if you're listening to this station, if these stations, if you are listening to this show, you've probably felt like an outsider at some point. For those of you who don't know, I did a TEDx talk a number of years ago, um, where I was talking about feeling like an outsider, how there are actually benefits of that. You can find that on TED.com, search under my name. I think there's also a link to the YouTube version on my website as well. But I think for many of us, even if we didn't look like we were outsiders, even if we looked like we belonged to the tribe, many people who are in the consciousness community today felt different, felt like outsiders. And I don't know about you, but for me, although I had some deep connections with a friend here and a friend there, I never really felt like I found my true tribe until I was, I don't know, probably 10 or 15 years ago, when I went into healing and I became a part of teaching team of healing. And all of a sudden I felt like this ease within me, because I had found like-minded, like-hearted people. And from what I hear from so many people who've been in my workshops, people who have sent me emails, people who are friends and colleagues, many of you felt like this at some point or another. And it's some people still feel like that and have never really felt like they found their tribe. And then for many of you, you found your tribe within the healing community, within the consciousness community, the spiritual community. And so there's been some relief, along the way for many of us. And yet there is this there is this disconnect that some of us have been experiencing over the last year, where some of us have a different perspective about what's going on. And I know for many, there's been like this split. And the split is confusing. It's like if it's almost like if you're hanging out with somebody and you two are witnessing the same thing and you felt really connected to that person and have appreciated their perspective, and then suddenly they're seeing things very differently in whatever unfolded than what you're seeing. You may sort of think, well, I didn't see that. I saw something very different. The truth of what I saw was different. And you agree to disagree. And then you're connected with them again, and the same thing happens, and it happens over and over again. And you begin to realize that there's been a shift in consciousness. And it's not bad or good. It's just you're viewing things differently. You're feeling aligned with different truths. You have different perspectives on the world. And so for many of us, it's meant having to kind of, disconnect from certain people we deeply value because we're just not in alignment anymore. And when we feel like we have to stay within that tribe, what happens is we deny ourselves our own truth. And we get into this state of what I call, from an energetic level, is like this divided vibration. On the one hand, um, we feel, experience, perceive, sense energetically one truth, and yet we're trying to be, inside this other box, so to speak, of another version of truth, to make those we care about, those we love deeply, those we've considered to be parts of our tribe, to stay in alignment, to stay connected with that tribe, to make them happy. And eventually that creates this divided vibration, which is unhealthy, which is not conducive to nurturing our soul. So anyway, it's I know that oh gosh, Peter Lucas and I talked about this. I was on his show recently called Creatives Chat. It was on Facebook Live, the first part of it. We actually had a two plus hour conversation, deep dive into our perspective about what's going on, and sort of delving into consciousness from many, many angles. You can find it on his YouTube channel, Creatives Chat, the original show, as well as the after show. And we get into some juicy stuff. Anyway, it's it's the kind of thing where we're having to reevaluate yet again. So for many of us, we had found our tribe, and now it's like, okay, well, there may be some members of this tribe that we still feel in alignment with, but we don't feel like we're completely accepted by the tribe. And yet, I have to tell you, I think that what we're going through right now, in terms of our evolution, our human evolution, our soul evolution within this earth plane, is to, it's not about, creating new tribes, although that can be helpful. I think that what we're being asked to do right now, on a very deep and very, sometimes very obvious level, is to individuate. Now, I think about how many of us feel like we've individuated, and yet I think that if we have to be in alignment with our soul's calling, our soul's belief, our perspective on truth, and it's not in alignment with what we're being told, what our supposed tribe believes, and we choose to be in alignment with what it is we're understanding, what it is that is our truth, then that is a deeper level of individuation. And it's not to say that those people we step away from are wrong, or, somehow bad. It's like we all are playing our roles in different ways. But that individuation is something that isn't always easy. And it can be tumultuous. There can be grief associated with it. There can be confusion about it. But I do believe that for each and every one of us, and whichever way, whichever tribe we associate with, whether we feel like we're part of a tribe or not, we're being asked to individuate more deeply, to be in alignment. So it's no longer just about the psychological individuation. We're being asked on a deeper level to individuate more on a soul level. And I know that there are people out there in the consciousness community who say, no, 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 we're like one. It's really important that we come together. And I think of it sort of like we're part of the same orchestra, and we're playing different instruments. So on the one hand, yes, we need to be somehow in harmony with others. But really, before we can do that, before we can be a part of a beautiful musical presentation, so to speak, we have to get to be really well practiced and great at playing our own instruments, so that the psychological and soul level individuation is a part of honing our craft, becoming a better musician of our own individual instrument. And yes, many of us are playing different types of instruments, and each of us will play an instrument, whether it's the same one or not, very differently. And it may be just subtle differences. But that individuation and the focusing on oneself is about becoming better at playing the music. And if we all don't do that, then the music of the orchestra as a whole isn't as good. It's not as beautiful. It's not as in harmony. So anyway, I think that is an important step that we're going through right now. So again, it brings it back to this tribalism, where we have to, sometimes we're forced to, sometimes we're just inspired to evaluate our relationship to soul, our relationship with our tribes. And, we have various tribes, and yeah, it doesn't mean that we like exit a family. It doesn't mean that we're not friends with somebody, but it may mean that we're having to make different choices and have different kinds of connections because of our differing belief systems. And that's okay. And if you've experienced that, I feel your pain, and I also feel your growth. It's an important part of our process right now. By the way, Benny, have we gotten any callers yet?
We still have open lines if you'd like to join us
Yeah,
on the
please.
Christine Upchurch Show. Yeah, I'll give out the number 800 again. Let's just do it again. 800 930 2819. 800 930 2819.
I wish that spelled something out, because that's a lot of numbers to remember. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, but when we return, who knows what we're going to talk about? Surprise, surprise. Stay tuned.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. If you'd like to empower yourself to step further into your vibration of change, please visit my website at christineupchurch.com, where you can learn more about my insights, upcoming events, and private sessions.